I don't know why I was thinking about this, but have you ever seen a husband and wife knock down, drag out? But you can tell by, even though they look like they're ready to kill each other, that they still realize that they're going home together, and that whatever it is ain't big enough to throw away the entire deal. And gratitude in recovery can be like that. I mean, if I was going to sit here and tell you that every single day I was just brimming over, walking on water, floating on a cloud of just so grateful to be alive and so glad, all these things. I mean, life's going to show up. But it's just like that couple that was fighting. I can have a down day, but we're not fixing to throw it all away. You see what I'm saying? And, what we're talking about is, Edward was saying, we're talking about, the basic text talks about lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise. That's what it says in there, and I like the way it sounds. It's very poetic. But it takes effort. And some of those some days that I had out there, you may have heard this before, someday never comes unless I make it a today in recovery. Whether it be a lost dream that's awakened, it can be awake, but if I don't pick it up and move forward with it, it can just sit there. See, so the new possibilities have arisen because I've got the monkey off my back, but it's up to me to take the reins of those opportunities. Like somebody was saying, they got a business in recovery. That's a big deal. Standing up based on principle, saying, look, what you're doing is not cool. We're going to give you a chance. Get the fuck out if you don't. I mean, this is what's going on. And that's one of those things that, and I would never disagree with the basic text, but I think that recovery is very broad, and there's so many results of recovery. We say there's only one promise, freedom from active addiction. That means I'm on something, and I have the compulsion, and I can't predict with certainty where this spree is going to end. That's active addiction. I'm using. Okay, so if freedom from active addiction is the only promise, hell, I could get locked up and I'm free from active addiction. They could chain me to a tree. To me, recovery is much deeper than that. We're talking about not just being off the shit, but being reasonably happy about being off the shit and not lamenting what recovery has taken away from me every single day. Because I could be free from active addiction and hate my life every single day and infect everybody around me with my negativity and hate until the inevitable happens and I use again because I'm not happy. I think working the steps is about getting reasonably happy, obtaining a satisfactory existence. And the reason I say those two words I think is very important because when I was in the past, it was either the best or nothing. I was the best or I quit. What recovery has enabled me to at least have a glimpse of on some good days, and over time I'd have to say there's been major improvement, is achieve some balance and be somewhere in the middle, whatever balance is, and it's apt to change. But embrace the word reasonable. It's not the best. The best was an illusion anyway, because when I was on that shit, it was lying to me about how good I was doing things, how much of a badass I was. It anesthetized my mind to make me think that the problems I have weren't as big as they were. I weren't dealing with shit, and I wasn't seeing shit clearly. And the things that it was telling me was a lie. Life sometimes is not the best. In recovery, it can be satisfactory. I can be okay with reasonable. I don't have to have the brand new car. I can have maybe an older one that's paid for. See, somehow grasping the concept of that is part of what I'm talking about. When we talk about the promises I pulled this out of one of the NA readings a long time ago. And to me, this is a lot of the promises that I get from the program, and I'm going to read them to you. One of them was described a minute ago. Living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. I just described that, but you know already that this was from one of our readings. Damn, if that's not a result, I don't know what is. Living and enjoying life, not hating life without drugs, being chained to a tree, being miserable, being locked up, but wanting against want to go get high again. The next one is, I will have a program. What a wonderful thing to be able to embrace that when I came here, I thought I had it all together. I was a victim. Y'all didn't understand me. And to be able to embrace that I need improvement was huge for me. I need improvement. And I've taken some steps to become improved. And I think that that's worth sharing to newcomers because they need to hear that improvement is possible. Not just being off the shit. Even a basic text talks about mere abstinence does not equal recovery. That's what I'm trying to describe. It talks about here, I will be unafraid. Oh my God. Talking about being gripped with fear when I got here. I mean, y'all all know this is from the very reading that we read at the end of every meeting. I mean, they're starting a lot to sound like promises to me. I will be unafraid. Are you kidding me? Living a day without being petrified with fear. Not just that the cops are going to get me or when they get behind me, if you know what I'm talking about. You see them in the rearview mirror. I don't get that fear anymore because they're not my enemy. You know why? Because I've made myself believe they were the villain, but every time I got in trouble, it's because of something I did. I couldn't deny it. I can't deny it. The biggest part about recovery is I need to own it. Only then can I get better. My thoughts will be on my new associations. He said it best. I need to be around people who are clean. If you ain't clean, get the fuck on. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that. I'm going to be nice about it. I'm going to give you a chance. But let's be clear. Some serious business. Right on the other side of that, if you don't do what we're asking you nicely to do, you got to know there's some skates in your future. And you're going to be skating because you're not going to be around me. I didn't get here this long by accident. So my thoughts be on my new associations is important. And who are my associations? I used to think I needed to be around the baddest ass thuggeries, and that was the cool thing. My idea about what's cool has been drastically revised.
Hear, hear.
Bragging about my Alabama inmate number or telling you where I was locked up and what they serve on Thursday at Atmore is not something to brag about. That's all I'm saying. It says right here, people who are not using and have found a new way of life. Well, that goes without saying. So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear. You know, and you know, I'm not arguing that there's only one promise, but I wanted to go through these and let you know that you may not call them promises, but damn sure they're results, and you can look forward to every single one of those. So if not living in fear sounds good to you, if having some good friends sounds good to you, if embracing some of the things I used to would have laughed at and said, look at them chumps getting up every morning and going to work. Work was a 4-letter word. You know what? You begin to take pride in some of the things that I sneered at. That's when you know the transformation is taking place. Because you got to look back from whence you came. You don't want to close that door, but we don't have to walk back through it either. I got to make a lesson of my past, or I'm doomed to repeat it. And that's why I keep coming to these meetings after all these years. So lost streams awaken, the new possibilities have arisen, and I've taken advantage of many of those things because of some of the things I'm talking about. I don't keep coming back because of threats. I came here because of threats. It kept me straight for a minute, but we don't do well with threats, do we? We, in spite of threats, we will say, fuck you. What keeps you coming back? What brought me here is not what keeps me here. What keeps me here is the good things I get. That's a life worth living. That's a reason to keep coming back, not out of fear or threats or reprisals. Thank you very much. I'll pass.
Thank you.
My name's Neil.